How you doing, guys? Welcome back. It's LSP. It's currently the 10th of October 2022. I'll quickly preface the video by saying this is very early for me doing a video. Generally, I tend to do these videos later in the day, but it will be posted by the time you're watching this video. It's going to be posted probably closer to around about sort of 5 o'clock my time here in the UK. So what we're looking at right now in terms of the charts and where price currently is and so on, maybe obviously vastly different or slightly different or the same. Yeah. But I want to kind of just go over a few things because this isn't time sensitive. This is I believe there's going to be quite a lot of volatility this week. If we just go over to the calendar for this week, obviously we have a lot going on. We've got PPI, we've got FOMC minutes, we have core CPI, we've got core retail. I mean, there's a lot going on this week, and any one of these days, can cause an insane amount of volatility. Let me just turn my phone on silent, guys. Sorry. So it causes an insane amount of volatility, right? But before I get into the analysis, I just want to quickly show you the live trading account, just to give you a quick update. So for those who are in the Patreon, they'll know what this is. I think we're currently on live trading video number 8, I think now. I took a trade last week. I took a trade this morning as well on the Euro USD. Both trades were on the Euro USD. And you can see we're up just over 2.3% on the account. And I want to emphasize something, and the reason I'm talking about this, I've done plenty of live trading series throughout the years. I even did a random series where I opened like 70 plus trades, and just left them for the whole month just to prove, that it's got nothing to do with technical analysis or methodologies. It's purely psychology. I believe that video is on my YouTube channel somewhere. If I can find it, or if it's on there, it might be unlisted, but either way, it's in video form. I can actually show these 70 plus trades being opened. But the point is, up just over 2.3%. If I was to just stop trading now for the month of October, that's fine. I'm up, just over 2.3%. I'm happy with that. It's a reasonable amount, in terms of percentage. Because you have to think like a fund manager. You've got to think like somebody who's managing, other people's funds, right? When you're trading, this is what I used to do. I used to try to put myself, in these psychological positions, right, to become familiar, with the way that big money is moved around and the way that big money is traded, right? And I learned very early on, that 2.3%, 1%, 3%, these types of numbers, right, on a monthly basis consistently throughout the year, they add up to a really nice, consistent amount of money, and as long as you can control the drawdown and the risk, and you can show that consistently throughout the year, then people will be quite happy to just throw money at you. I've seen it. I know from managers that will give people money that have a couple of years track record, and they can show consistency like that. So I'm going to continue with that series. Obviously, if anybody's interested, it's in the Patreon, the link's in the description below. And we're going to continue. I'll try to post a few sort of public updates about this as well, if anybody wants to kind of keep a track of this. But let's get back to the cryptocurrency markets. I've just kind of stretched this out a little bit, and you can see now we are currently at the moment where things are starting to just tighten up a little bit. We had this little bit of a pop here, and what we're going to have to do is, if I just drag this out, I want to make this more pronounced and stick it somewhere where it makes sense. So the level down here, which I'm sure we're all aware of right now, is basically 17,600 to roughly 17,500. I believe if it goes down there, we'll have a little bit more of a push deeper into this liquidity, so it'll absorb some more, and then it will go below this low and probably hit sort of 17.5. If it really starts to go, then it's just going straight through all of this. But the point being is, there's plenty of news, high impact news events. There's plenty of numbers coming out this week that could easily push Bitcoin one way or the other, right? Now, obviously, the narrative for us is still down. I do believe firmly, that we are going to continue going lower. And the more I look at this, and the more I analyze, and the more I watch, the more I believe, that 15.8 is on the cards, right? If you look at, the US indices, okay, so US equities market, you can see the S&P, is getting absolutely decimated, this week. It was all the way up here. That's reversed now, and we're probably going to see, some more continuation to the downside, probably around about sort of 3.5, and then driving towards, sort of 3.4. Or 3,400. And I do believe, and I've said this for a while, I actually text, quite a few people months ago, kind of pointing all of this out and just saying, just be careful, just be mindful. And the problem is this: people see one up candle and they think, the whole world has changed. You have to look at the entire narrative. We're seeing weakness across the board. This is the Dow Jones. This is the Nasdaq. Tech is weaker. Yeah. And obviously when it comes to the Bitcoin, when it comes to cryptocurrency and the Nasdaq, they are more closely correlated than, for example, the cryptocurrency with the S&P. This does not bode well for cryptocurrency. This does not bode well for broader markets. Okay. The dollar is on an absolute tear. Okay. So if we just quickly go to the dollar index as well, I'll just show you. You can see that the dollar index did dip, completely rebalance. Yes, there's absolutely no reason whatsoever that this will not continue going, and I do believe that we're going to see 116 to 120. That is the monthly levels. So if we just kind of zoom out a little bit, this is where I'm expecting price to go. Ideally, we get a full capitulation, completely takes out these highs and then just collapses. That would be absolutely amazing. And I'm not saying that in the sense of people losing money. I don't want anybody to lose money, but this is just the nature of the business. This is how, trading is. This is how, investing is. And this is just the markets. So ultimately, just from a pure price delivery point of view, that's what I want to see, because it means we're going to reset. And by that point, if the dollar does capitulate, that, like I'm expecting it to do, then we're going to see some pretty nasty downside, on Bitcoin and Binance and all the usual suspects, that we like to look at. So if we just go back to the weekly, you can see just a little bit of a lift here, goes up, reverses, goes up, reverses. So we're seeing price sensitivity right here where this liquidity is and where the liquidity is being absorbed, and this is not a rounding off. The more I look at this, and I'm not saying this is going to happen, I really want people to listen to the words I'm saying, because unfortunately, and I don't want to sound arrogant, but when I say things, people just assume, oh, he said that, so it's just going to happen, while I'm watching the video, right? This takes time, but the more I look at it, the more I'm expecting a drop, just a really nasty drop. I can almost sense it, in the market. There's something not quite right with the way that all of this is forming, the way that things are moving, and to be honest, any upside movement, whether it looks strong, weak, I don't know, but any upside movement for me, is going to be met with a very cautious attitude. I'm not just going to say, yeah, it's gone up now and that's fine. I really want to see something, of significant magnitude for me to even start considering that this is the bottom or that we've turned. And I've said many times, bottoms do not form like this. Okay. They just don't. So, I am expecting downside. I am expecting, down here, and we'll continue to monitor, obviously. Be really cautious this week, guys. I know many of you listen to what I'm saying, and I know some of you, look, I'll say it like this. Everybody has their own methodology. I'm not here to tell people what to do. I'm just delivering information based on my experience, and I feel that my track record, has, I've proven myself many, many times throughout the years. And those of you who are new to me, I believe that, again, I've proven my, methodology and track record, and my analysis, is very on point, right? So just when I say be careful, I'm trying to prevent people from getting into the market when it makes no sense, and the potential to lose money, is greatly amplified, especially if you're new and your emotions, you can't keep your emotions in check. Have a plan, whatever that plan looks like for you. So if we just go over to BNB, we can see this is where I'm expecting price to go, 250. I've said this before quite a few times. We've been talking about this level for quite some time. If we start to get a little bit of a downside, and this is what's interesting about BNB was holding up quite well. I know they had this thing with the hack and everything else, but to be fair, BNB was holding up quite well relative to, Bitcoin, the benchmark, and the the rest of the cryptocurrency market. But having said that, eventually it will catch up with what Bitcoin is doing. Bitcoin is showing an immense amount of weakness. It's not showing any indication it wants to go higher. It's just showing a lot of indications that it wants to go lower. And and Binance will fall in line. Yeah, just like Ethereum will fall in line, just like all of the other cryptocurrencies will fall in line. Because it's not about Bitcoin being the benchmark. This is about global economies collapsing. This is about inflation out of control. This is about things that simply cannot be corrected overnight. The effects of what we are seeing, we will hear something today, and the effects of that won't happen till next week, till next month, and so on. You have to be mindful of this. You've got to be really, really careful, because you might see an immediate response based on some very particular, set of news that comes out, or a particular number that comes out, and so on. But ultimately, the effects of the overall picture will not be felt until a month, 2 months, 3 months down the line. So, as an example, we may very well be coming out of this kind of inflation curve, and maybe things are slowing down, and maybe inflation is coming down. We're not going to see the effects of that until next year, So we're seeing a delayed reaction. We're seeing a lagging reaction. Be very, very mindful of this. Going back to Binance, I am expecting that movement to the downside. All indications are pointing that is going to be the case. We can see this kind of messy broad range consolidation. There is some liquidity building up, up here. The first tap, the second tap didn't go into it, right? So again, there is, quite a lot of liquidity building up, above these two highs. But having said that, this pickup of buy side liquidity down here on the 4-hour chart just I don't believe it's enough, to push this move. I don't even think that was a pickup of buy side. What I mean by that is I think as price came into this level down here on the 4-hour chart, it was basically just to offload, not to pick up. Yeah. So the thing that we need to be mindful of and what we need to be paying attention to is Binance picking up sell side liquidity. And if we can confirm that, then it's likely that we are on the right path, we are on the right track, and we are, looking for further downside. So let's try to confirm if we're picking up sell side liquidity. There was liquidity here that just basically traded straight through, right, on a very sort of mini capitulatory move. And since reverse, and there's your pickup of sell side just there. It's basically absorbed everything that's here, right? So, and this is the weekly, so it's a very strong time frame. If we continue going lower, this right here and that tail just there, that wick, okay, will be the move that is in control. So whatever it's picked up there, that will be in control, and that will become the next key level, and quick, key swing point and above these highs for there to be a massive shift in flow, for price to continue going higher. So this then becomes the cutoff. This then becomes that point where we really need to see price get back above, and it's 300 to 320. Before we'd even consider that price has even turned at all. And this is what I do. I go through the motions. I look at certain things. I'm trying to figure out the areas where it makes the most sense that price would be doing what it's doing, and then I try to figure out going forward, where are the levels that I need to see price breaking, for me to consider that this has actually turned and we're going to start to see some uptick in the market. So again, expecting some downside, expecting 250 on Binance. Be cautious this week. There's a lot of craziness going on. And with all of that said, I'll keep you guys updated. I'll keep you guys abreast of things. If I see anything, significant this week, because like I said, there's some pretty decent numbers coming out this week. I'm going to be, posting updates to keep you guys abreast. If you're not following me on Twitter, follow me on Twitter. Again, the link's in the description below. I'll be posting, updates on certain things. If I see something significant, I'll post the updates, right? So with all of that said, I hope everyone's having an absolutely fantastic day or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to speaking to you really, really soon. All the best, guys. Take care and ciao for now.